Hey everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It's Friday, December 27th, 2024. We have a 8-game NBA slate to talk about here on today's podcast, joined as always by my good buddy Will Priester, ChiefJustice06. Chief, what's happening, my friend?
Nothing much, brother. Glad to come on with you. Happy holidays to everybody. Merry Christmas. A happy New Year's hopefully on the horizon for us all. And it is DFS time, sir. And, NBA is here, and it's going to keep rolling through June. So might as well get our piece of the pie while the action's rolling.
Oh, yeah. Should be fun time here with NBA on Friday. I mean, we've had so much NBA and football this week with the holidays and stuff. So, appreciate everyone hanging out with us live over there on YouTube, and 8 games breakdown, talk about. Let's get started here. We got the Knicks and the Magic, 212 total here. Knicks a 6.5 point favorite. Mitch Rob is out. Orlando is on a back-to-back, but we know that Paulo, Franz, and Mo Wagner will be out. Gary Harris did not play on Thursday, so I assume he'll continue to be out as well. We'll start here with the Knicks. What do we like here for New York?
It's probably Karl Anthony Towns, but it's not really much, Stevie. I think the Knicks, man, with all these players that they have, are pretty balanced. OG's 5,900. Like maybe you can take a shot on him, but it's cat for me and pretty much cat only. I don't really want to risk it too much with even Brunson, and Brunson's been good, but I don't know if he's going to get me enough fantasy scoring in this spot to help me take down a tournament. Orlando's still actually an okay basketball team, even with this roster. So, it's just Karl Anthony Towns for me.
It's crazy how good the defense is for the Magic, even without Paulo and Franz on the court. Not my favorite game. I mean, I don't hate Towns. I don't hate the idea of playing one of Bridges, Hart, or OG just because they play so many minutes. They have one of the most condensed rotations in the NBA. So, I mean, they all always have upside on any given slate. We saw Bridges on Christmas just go absolutely bonkers. I think he went for 59 fantasy
40
points, 40 actual points.
40
So
real point. Yeah. It was just his day, man. Everybody has one of those days in the NBA if you're a guy like that. Random, he's not a random player, but it was just his day.
He was getting buckets, as they like to say. So I think this game is going to be very similar to what we saw on Thursday with the Magic and the Heat, 89-88. Really low scoring defense, slow pace. I think that's just how the game is gonna kind of shape up here. I mean, going to the Orlando side, I mean, they have just gotten away from playing Wendell Carter Jr. right now. Goga has been playing 30-plus minutes. They've been playing De Silva a bunch of minutes. He's been playing really well. Goga is a really good defender, so I could see him getting a lot of run here against Cat. But, I mean, I can't really get excited about anybody outside of maybe Jalen Suggs, who just continues to shoot a ton with Franz and Paulo off the floor. I think you could play Goga. De Silva is 4,500. He's really cheap. 36 and 39 minutes in the last 2 games. 37 the minute game before that. So I don't hate what KCP. The minutes he's getting.
His minutes have stayed in the 30s too.
Yeah. What do you like here for the Magic?
Yeah, I think it's KCP. It's De Silva. Suggs at 8K, I think is a pass. But De Silva and KCP, I'm perfectly fine with it. You talked about Goga. He's played really well. The rebounding has been there. But I think those are my only two. Once again, this game, I think you could build from the 7:30 games up on this slate. But once again, I understand if you want to pull in one or two pieces.
This is one of the ugliest 8-game slates we've had in a long time. I'm just going to say that when I was researching this slate before the NFL podcast, I was like, man, this slate is it's bad.
If you just rattle it off, Stevie, the first 6 games are all top defensive teams sprinkled in somewhere, maybe outside of San Antonio and Brooklyn. most of these games have a pretty nice, well, maybe not Memphis stores, but you get what I'm saying. Like over half the games have some teams that really have some defensive presence.
All right, we go to Boston, Indy at Boston. The Pacers on a back-to-back. Drew and Porzingis questionable. No injury report for Indy with two big question marks for Boston means we have no total for this game. What do you like here for the Pacers?
Not much. Maybe I like Halliburton more if Drew sits, but I'm really not thrilled about the Pacers today. I will say I felt like Miles Turner has still been cheap, Stevie. So at 6,300, like I'm willing to roll the dice there. I feel like Siakam's been cheap all season, but really he hasn't, Stevie. They have so many players. So that's pretty much it for me. I'm really not rushing to roster Indiana today. So you're talking about ugly slate. It's one of those slates, Stevie, where I don't even know if I play cash unless we start getting like some serious news. This is like mass multi-entry. Just take a piece of the good players and see what happens in the end. Like it's just like you said, it's a weird 8-game slate.
Yeah, people watching live, I am yawning a ton. I'm sorry. I mean, it is not because the slate is boring. It is something, but I mean, I'm just anyone that has kids around Christmas, they feel me right now. So Numhard had a huge game against the Thunder on Thursday. I feel like that was an outlier game. He had like
against the Thunder of all teams, which is a good defensive team, and I know because I took his unders. That clown.
Yeah, he just had like a big rebounding, a big assist game, and he had like 20 plus points. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not excited about playing the Pacers. Boston side, I mean, I want to see what the injury report kind of looks like. I mean, if Drew's out, I'll take some shots on Pritchard. If Porzingis is out, I'll take some shots on Horford at 5K. Overall, I mean, I don't think this is a spot I'll play Jaylen Brown. I think Jason Tatum is someone you could play here. This is a good spot for him. The Pacers continue to struggle against effective wings like Tatum. I mean, again, like there's a couple games on the slate that I really like, and then there's a bunch of games on this slate that I'm just like, man, do I really want to play anybody from this team?
Yeah, so you mentioned Porzingis. Porzingis would have been someone I may have actually considered at the price, Stevie. His minutes have been okay recently, but like you said, he's questionable. Tatum back under 10K. I actually do like that, Stevie. I mean, back these past couple games, 83 fantasy points, 62 fantasy points. And he's been putting up numbers all season, and we've seen a price drop on Jaylen Brown a little bit. The game could get out of hand, maybe in my book. But I think for me, if there's anybody I'm going to play from Boston, especially if Holiday were to sit, then it's got to be some combination of Peyton Pritchard and Derek White for me on the cheaper end. Don't mind Tatum at all, but if Holiday were to sit, then Pritchard and White are definitely some guys I'm going to be considering heavily.
San Antonio at Brooklyn, 213.5 total here. San Antonio, a 6.5 point favorite. Nobody on the injury report for San Antonio. It is a back-to-back for Brooklyn, so we'll see how it kind of shapes up. They're still playing technically right now as we're recording. I think it's a 5-point game or something. But anyway, let's go to the San Antonio side here first. What do we like for the Spurs?
Well, first of all, did you catch the Wemby holiday game, Stevie? Goodness.
I told everybody. I even made him the morning grind pitcher. Yeah, just
unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I mean, it wasn't just the blocks and stocks. The man had 42. I think we see something comparable here, Stevie, as Brooklyn, we know, has just been struggling lately. Injuries, trades, you name it. But I like Wemby at 11K. I definitely think he's worth the price of admission here. I have slight interest in Chris Paul, Stevie, at 5,800. I feel like Chris Paul should be 6K, 6,200. I think he's a touch too cheap. So at that price, I'm actually pretty interested. Devin Vassal's back to play big minutes, so I don't mind him. But those are some of the main guys I like from San Antonio. I will say I'm starting to get more interested in Keldon Johnson at 4K. I know it feels like the production of it hasn't been there, Stevie, but 4K, getting 20 minutes, a guy that can get you 30, like we could do worse. I'll just say that. We could do worse. He's been very unproductive recently, but I do think that price is okay.
Yeah, Wemby and Vassell, the two that I like. Probably just playing Wemby if I'm playing anything here from San Antonio, and it'd be a run back option. I mean, on the Brooklyn side, we don't expect Thomas, Williams, Finney Smith. I mean, I guess Finney Smith has a chance to play. It was a calf. They said he would play, and then he ended up getting ruled out. So I assume maybe he plays, but I think Ben Simmons sits here. Obviously they're trying to move him, and it's a back-to-back. So I think Finney Smith could potentially like flip roles with Ben Simmons in this spot. What are we doing with Brooklyn here?
Not much. I think Claxton's a little bit too cheap. I know Clowney's been playing some recently, Steve, and he's been playing nice minutes. So probably have a little bit of interest in Clowney at 4,700, especially since you can get him at power forward and center. Still okay with Claxton. Obviously, they pretty much handed the keys to Cam Johnson. He can do probably about whatever he wants, but I don't really want to play with that price. But that's about it. Not really thrilled about rostering a bunch of Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, I mean, if Finney Smith stays out and Simmons is out, that is where like maybe Jalen Wilson becomes a little bit more playable. Shake Milton potentially becomes more playable, but I think overall right now you're just going to keep playing Cam Johnson. He's getting up a ton of shots, and I mean, just like you said, he kind of has the keys to the kingdom. I don't mind Johnson at 4,700. Keon Johnson, I think he's okay. He's another guy that's getting up quite a bit of shots right now. As the Milwaukee game's kind of finishing out here, he has 15 shot attempts on Thursday night. Minnesota at Houston, 214.5. A lot of totals under 215 here in the first four games. Minnesota 1.5 point favorite. Ingles is questionable. Houston's on a back-to-back. We'll see what the injury report shapes up for them. We know Brooks has been dealing with an injury with his ankle. He missed the game on Thursday. Easton has been out. He missed the game on Thursday. So we'll see if any of these guys come back. But we'll start with Minnesota. Anything that you like here from Minnesota?
So when is Ant going to really start piling up the big performances? And maybe that's just not coming this year, Steve. Like maybe, he played in the Olympics. He played deeper into the playoffs last year. Like it could just be wear and tear that's affecting him, and maybe he needs a little bit more rest. I don't know. But I feel like at this price, we just have to keep taking shots. Same thing for Julius Randle. Like at 7,100, he's had two really nice games. Like I think that's a touch too cheap for him. But that's kind of where I am with Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I look at it and I'm just was trading Cat the right move? I mean, I keep going back to that. Was Cat the right move? Like moving because it opened up Edwards to get more shots. So I just don't know if that was the right move or not. But I know they got a first round pick out of it. So
well, New York sure thinks them because Cat's been way more productive than Julius Randle. I mean,
yeah. I mean, your Hornets. They got some picks and stuff out of it. Anyway.
Yeah.
For me, like Edwards is at the point now where like really watching the price point, he went for 50 plus fantasy points the first time these two teams played earlier this season. Rudy Gobert, just not a fantasy production guy anymore. I played a lot of Nas Reed on Christmas Day, and he was one of the reasons that I did not have a good slate. But I mean, I don't mind going back to the well on him just because I do think like he has some solid upside. He's an energy player. I don't know if I want to play much on Minnesota here. I like the price on Edwards, but I don't know if this is the spot. Houston's a good defense. This game's going to be slow. Not my favorite game. And then like on the Rockets side, like they're another team that you're just like who do I play from Houston?
Yeah.
I mean, on a nightly basis, like it could be any of these guys. I think that like who was it on Thursday? It was like Cam Whitmore, right? That had like a monster game out of
Yeah,
nowhere.
it was just random. Random.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Jalen Green, Fred VanVleet, and Sengun are like your ceiling guys. Those are the three guys that I play on if I'm playing Houston, but I don't love this game either.
Nope. Stevie, I don't know if I play anybody from Houston today, to be honest. And in fact, I don't think I do. I don't think I play a single person from the Houston Rockets today, which means one of these guys, Jalen Green, Thompson, somebody's going for 40 in the 4K range, in the 6K range, but I won't have them, and I'll live with that.
All right, we got Memphis at New Orleans. No total in this game. Both teams on a back-to-back. Do you see Memphis? They scored 155 points against Toronto. Wowza. That's a monster game. And then the Pelicans, I think, they lost to Houston. But as far as injuries, I mean, I assume that Zion, they said he's still week to week. Ingram is still out. I know Alvarado is getting closer, but I think he's still like next week. And then Santa did hurt his ankle in Thursday's game. So watch that news, because if he's out, it could potentially open up some stuff here. But let's go to Memphis first. What do we like here for the Grizzlies?
Man, I want to start playing John Morant. I just want John Morant to start getting 30-something minutes a game. Like, gosh, man, just stabilize it. 32, 33. I'll be feeling really good, Stevie, but we just seem to not get that for a variety of factors. So I do feel like Ja could score on anyone. I just want to see some consistency in his minutes. Memphis is another team that I feel like is just playing guys. Like Desmond Bane is at 6,800, Stevie. I think he's probably the best play from this team, for the price. Now, if Santi sits, then, we'll end up with some other alternatives. And then you've got Zach Edey, who's playing about 25 to 28 minutes a game. But I honestly think Desmond Bane is my favorite play from Memphis because of the price.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind Bane. Zach Edey at 5K is just the guy that I'm going to keep playing. He had another monster game. I think he had like a 2015 game. So, got to keep playing Zach Edey. Like you mentioned, I don't mind Bane. I think Triple J always has some upside. I think Ja has some upside. I mean, it's just whether or not you think this game's going to stay close. If you think this game's going to stay close, I think any of the Memphis starters are in play. Be really interesting to see who gets like Santa, like his minutes and production. I could see it be maybe a guy like Luke Kennard or even Pittman play a couple extra minutes. So we'll see what the projections look like here for Memphis, depending on the injury news tomorrow around 2:00. New Orleans side, I mean, gosh, on paper, this is, if you look at their starting five from preseason, you're like, man, this team's going to do really well this year. And the injuries have just crushed this team. I mean, Trey Murphy has a little bit of upside. CJ McCollum, I feel like, is just a guy that's just out there at this point. Maybe you could take some shots on Herb Jones, but his price is kind of creeping up. Another team, I don't know. Maybe projections make me like a little bit more excited about this slate, but like night before first look, like there's a lot that I don't like here.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned this team. I still think some of these guys are slightly too expensive. Like, okay, so Missy's been really good. And so I get like he went through a stretch where it was 30, 40, 30, but like we still needed DeJounte Murray to kind of get going. So Missy might be priced properly, right? So let's just call it no value. Herb Jones, 5,900. Like he's probably priced appropriately. So some value, but low value. You got Trey Murphy at 6,900. Stevie, he's done well recently, probably priced appropriately still. Weird games here, as you mentioned. And I'm probably okay with DeJounte Murray because he may in fact have the most upside on this team, but I still think he's priced appropriately. So I think CJ's priced appropriately. I think any of these guys are just fillers for me. None are primary plays, even against Memphis.
That's kind of where I'm at. All right, we got Cleveland at Denver, 236 total here. Cleveland a 1.5 point favorite. Okoro out, Wade questionable. Denver side, Aaron Gordon's out. Let's start with Cleveland. Finally, a game that we can get a little bit of excitement from. I think it's a really good spot for Mitchell. You know, he's right in that like upper mid tier, not necessarily in the like 9s and 10K range, but I like him. And then, I mean, I think Allen's really been struggling here recently, so I don't mind getting to Mobley or taking some shots on Garland or LeVert. But I definitely want to get exposure to Cleveland in this spot.
Yeah, I get it. It's just Allen at 6K, man. Like we're talking about Cleveland as a whole. Stevie, he's another one. Lack of production recently, but can you just look at how many blowouts they've been in over the past like 5 to 10 games? Yeah. I mean, man, at some point this thing should be competitive. He's 6K. You mentioned Mobley at 7,600. I like him too. Darius Garland finally back down to like 7K, Stevie, and he's been there. He's been hovering, but 7K, I don't mind that at all. Mitchell at 8,400. That's a spot you can roll the dice in. Should be the most competitive game they've probably played in over a week. So I'm with you. Okay with Cleveland. Not thrilled because it still should be somewhat. They can still put the defensive clamps on Denver. I know Jokic is there, Stevie, but Cleveland's been good against everybody. So this could very easily be another blowout swinging Cleveland's way because of the defense. But I'm hoping and anticipating this will be a much more competitive game.
All right, going to the Denver side, no Aaron Gordon. Maybe a little bit of a bump to a guy like Porter or a guy like Christian Braun, who should play really solid minutes here at 5K. Tough defensive matchup, but I think we got to like a little bit here, especially with all the low total games that we have. What do you like for Denver today?
Well, I mean, I'm still in the camp that you can play Jokic against anyone. He's 11-8. So I don't hate it. It's Cleveland. I get it. But he's 11-8, man. If, you know, Jamal Murray 7,400, like I think that's reasonable enough, especially for this slate. You've got, you know, Aaron Gordon, who's not going to be playing. So, you know, what does that do for a guy like Peyton Watson? What does that do for a guy like MPJ? You know, what does that do? To be honest, what does that do for Russell Westbrook? Well, I feel like all these guys are priced appropriately. So it's mainly just Jokic for me. I don't mind Christian Braun at 5K, but it's mainly just Jokic, man.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Westbrook plays a couple extra minutes. He's priced right where he should be, though. So
yeah,
weird slate. Maybe I mean, listen, NBA. We can always get one or two injury like announcements that change the entire slate. So we'll see how it kind of shapes up. But we got Dallas at Phoenix, no total in this game. Luka and Exum out, Lively questionable. Allen and Booker out for Phoenix. We'll go to Dallas first. What do you like here for the Mavs?
Yeah, give me Kyrie. Give me Klay Thompson. Give me Spencer Dinwiddie, who should play close to 30 minutes here. So we do have a little bit of value in this game. Boy, if Lively sits, boy, wouldn't that help out our Daniel Gafford shares at 4,200? Even if he still only played 28 minutes, Stevie, that's more than enough time for him. So he would be a guy that we would be considering. That would also possibly open up a few more minutes for Najee Marshall, but I don't feel like he's the primary play at all. But definitely Kyrie. Definitely Klay. If Lively sits, definitely Gafford. And I think we'd be in business.
Kyrie took 27 shots the other night when Luka left the game on Christmas. He was just chucking. I mean, I think this is a good spot to play Kyrie. I'm with you. No Luka. We already have that news. He's one of the top plays on the slate. If Lively's out, Gafford becomes one of the top plays. With Luka out, I think you could potentially take some shots on Grimes or Dinwiddie on the cheap side.
Get some value in the downside for sure. Early on.
On the Phoenix side, I mean, Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant, both 20-plus shots on Christmas with no Allen and no Booker. They should keep shooting. I don't want to sleep on like Tyus Jones. Royce O'Neal played a huge role off the bench on Christmas Day. What are we looking at here on Phoenix?
Yeah, I mean, KD, no Booker. Beal, no Booker. And you talked about no Allen also. So, I mean, that really opens it up for these guys because Beal took 21 shots. And, Steve, he's going to do that. He was fairly efficient in that game. Not saying his efficiency will be the same every time, but this is a really good price for him if he's going to take that many shots per game. So I like him a ton. You mentioned Tyus Jones, definitely a guy that I don't want to give up on. He's playing 30 minutes. I mean, if he got you 32 fantasy points, I think we'd be perfectly fine with that. I mean, I don't think we need to see 40 from him, Stevie, to feel like, oh, we made it. Like, I mean, he gets anything between 30, 35. I think we're feeling, pretty okay there at his price point. I wish Nurkic was playing more minutes consistent. Like, he played 30 minutes in a Denver game, but, I need to see that every game. This should be a game where it should be competitive. So I'm okay with playing him sparingly in a few lineups.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They started Dunn the other night. If he draws a start, maybe I take some shots on him, but he just doesn't do anything. He's just out there getting minutes.
Yeah.
All right, we finished with Golden State at LA taking on the Clippers. 218 total here. Clippers a 1-point favorite. No Steph. Draymond questionable. Kawhi and Man out for the Clippers. Let's go Golden State. No Steph. I mean, is this the Dennis Schroeder game? 5,300 for Dennis Schroeder with no Steph Curry. Like, are we going to get the usage out of him? Or, I mean, Jackson Davis continues to play well recently. He was someone that I ended up overweight on Christmas Day. I like Schroeder and Jackson Davis. If Draymond sits, I mean, Kuminga at 5,500. Like, this game is definitely a game that could make or break the slate, and it's a 10 o'clock standalone game, and you're just hoping you get the injury news early because I kind of want Draymond to sit because it opens up a lot if Draymond sits.
Yeah, and I think, Stevie, all these pieces in the 5K range are good. I think Wiggins is good. I think Kuminga's good. I think Buddy Hield could be okay. I definitely think Schroeder would be good. I think Podsley would be good. I think TJD would be good. Like, it's crazy that everybody on Golden State's cheap outside of Steph at this point, and Draymond's in the mid-range. Like, that's pretty much what we're dealing with right now. And I think if both of those guys sit for sure, we just got to take advantage of it, Steve. You can mix and match the Golden State guys with the Dallas guys early on. And I'm sure we'll get one or two more really good value plays before we hit lock tomorrow. But as of right now, Golden State and Dallas are supplying us with some really good value plays.
Clippers side of this game, I feel like Zubac, Powell, Harden, your boy KPJ. KPJ, a great tournament play. Always just kind of comes down to minutes for him. But when he's on the floor, he's putting up the shots. So I don't mind him in
playing 20
in
or more minutes now, mostly in most games. 20 or more minutes in most games now, which is good.
What are your thoughts here on the Clippers?
Yep, in on KPJ. I'm probably in on Harden too, even though he's been a little bit more sporadic. Game at home, don't mind him at all. Man, can Norman Powell go back to like the 6K range? Nope, because he's been so productive. Don't hate him. Got to score a lot of points, but he is a primary option. That you already mentioned Zubac at 7,600.
All right, I feel like we cruised through that slate. I always feel like we cruise through slates.
Steven, this slate is and once again, we're not saying like the sites can't choose the NBA schedule. So what we're saying is just a rough slate of games in terms of like upside production. It's a bunch of blah stuff.
Injuries, back-to-backs. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those days. You get these in NBA. I feel like you get like 3 or 4 of these a month, and you're just always going to get 3 to 4 a month. And today's just one of those days. I'm on Grinders Live later today too, like on Friday. So yeah, my first build is all from the last 2 games. I mean, I hear you. I hear you. Depending on injury news for sure. All right, morning grind game. Favorite play under 5K to go 7X. Who do you got?
We do have some options today, Stevie. I think, man, I'm real close between 2 guys. I wish I knew if these guys were sitting. I'm going to go with the short thing right now, which is already short up. Give me Spencer Dinwiddie at 4,900.
Yeah, I don't hate that. Jackson Davis is my guy from the Warriors. He's just been playing really good, been absolutely crushing. So like him a lot. Over 8K to go under 5X. Who's your bust today?
Give me Alperen Sengun.
Yeah, don't hate that. Man, there's a couple. I'm gonna go Jokic. He could easily get up for this game and have a big game, but I just don't see myself getting to him over Wemby today.
I don't mind.
Favorite 6X play.
I got a lot of them today, Stevie. I'm going to go off the beaten path here. Going back to someone that I mentioned a little bit earlier in the pod. It's an odd game, but I think his price is a touch too cheap. In that same game, going to be a tough one, but give me Julius Randle at 7,100.
All right, I like it. I feel like that is definitely a little off the board. I'm going to go to my boy Mitchell. We talked about that game. I like Cleveland. I think Mitchell has a big game today. Favorite GPP ceiling play today? Who do you think has the highest ceiling on the slate?
Oh, man. So the correct answer is Jokic or Wemby. But I can't overlook Kyrie with no Luka. And that therein lies the problem.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. I'm going to go Wemby for mine. I think he has a lot of upside on the slate. Who's your Let's Get Weird GPP play of the day?
This is going to be my first time bringing this guy up in the Let's Get Weird GPP section. But I think it's fact because of how the slate is broken down. And I don't think anybody wants to play him today, Stevie. Believe it or not, it's Jason Tatum at 9,900.
Yeah. He's capable of monster games, so I hear you. You like it even more, I'm sure, if Drew and Porzingis ends up sitting.
Oh, buddy, yes. Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go to Tristan Da Silva for the Orlando Magic. He's been getting up shots. He obviously benefits with Mo and Franz Wagner out. So give me Da Silva at 4,500 today. Any over-unders, any bets you like today?
So I hope I'm not wrong here, but we've got Stevie, Orlando, and the Knicks, and as crazy as this sounds, Orlando is still 19-13 after all of these injuries. They're 19-13. They're at home. Give me Orlando plus 6.5.
Yeah, I hear you. I think the Knicks kind of handle my Magic tonight. There's nothing that I liked in the betting market. I mean, I don't hate Cleveland minus 1.5 on the road, but there's nothing jumping off the page. And I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with I just don't love this slate. So maybe, yeah, I mean, some props potentially, but there's not a ton of props up yet because of all the back-to-backs and injury news. So do you have anything else you wanted to talk about?
Negative.
All right, well, that's going to wrap us up for Friday. We're back on Monday. Hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. We'll see you all on Monday. Good luck and have a great weekend.